Welcome back to your hour. Joining me now is Brent Williams with the Chamber Music Society of Wichita. So what is that?
It is a newly formed chamber music series whose concerts are going to be at the Wichita Art Museum starting this November.
Okay, very cool. So you said newly formed, so that means brand new.
That means brand new. We haven't had our first concert yet. We originally met as a board fall of 2019, and we had given ourselves a year to plan the first season. And so we had hoped to roll out our first offerings fall of 2020. We all know how that went.
Yeah.
So needless to say, we had to delay everything by a year. And so 1 year later, is now, and we're about to actually get to start as we had intended to a year before.
So is it strictly singers, or are there musicians as well?
Actually, this season, not at all. It's all,
okay.
we have one string quartet, a brass quintet, a piano four hands group, and then a chamber orchestra, which has strings and woodwinds and piano in it. So, and from season to season, that could change. We hope to have a chamber music singing ensemble of some sort in the future. Perhaps we'll have a percussion group as well. It'll depend from year to year. We'll be bringing in different groups.
Well, that's the beauty of being brand new. You can always grow.
Absolutely, and we hope to. We're giving 4 concerts this first year. The first one, like I mentioned, is November 14th, and then there's going to be 3 in the spring semester, February 6th, March 27th, and April 24th. And if all goes well, perhaps in our second year we'll expand to 5 concerts. I'd like to see us eventually get to 6, so that there'd be 3 in the fall and 3 in the spring. But there's no way to know for sure how that'll develop.
And where did you say you would be performing?
At the Wichita Art Museum.
That's a nice venue.
It is. It's beautiful. So we'll be in the Great Hall. For those of you who've been there, when you walk up the stairs and there's the large Chihuly chandelier, the concerts will take place in that space.
Okay.
Underneath that. So looking out
Oh man,
onto the
that
art
music
park.
will travel all over the place.
That is the plan. Yeah.
That'll be cool.
I think so.
Yeah. So, and you said that your first one is in November?
November 14th, that's correct, is the Carpe Diem String Quartet. February 6th is the American Brass Quintet. March 27th is the Zofo Duet, the piano four hands group that I mentioned before. And then the Outburst Chamber Orchestra is on April 24th of 22, obviously.
Okay. Well, whose idea was this?
It was entirely my idea. So
Cool.
if it fails, it's completely on my shoulders, I guess. I'd moved here about 3 years ago with my family, and I had previously been a violin professor for 10 years in Colorado for that. Both of those locations, and certainly where I did my undergrad in Florida, there was a really healthy professional chamber music series in place, and lots of opportunities, not only as an audience member, but as a performer as well. And when I came here, especially given the size of Wichita, I was surprised by how little there was. We have chamber music at the barn in the summers, of course, but during the normal school year, the regular season, there was almost nothing that was offered. And so after having been here about a year, I set about to change that, because I just felt like that was a shame.
You thought it should be done.
Exactly. So yeah, I gathered a board and did
So
all the...
what was that like? How did you send out word to the musicians that you were doing this?
I mean, the way that you'd expect. I would see them at other performances or rehearsals that we had for orchestral concerts and whatnot, and we would I kind of would mention to them how I felt like we were lacking in that department in this town, and kind of gauge their reaction to those comments, and try to get some of the asked for recommendations for board members, because like I mentioned, I had just moved here and I hardly knew anybody. So I had to basically convince the first person on the board to get involved, and then worked their contacts to kind of spider out from there to come up with the group that we now have governing us. But otherwise, I had to teach myself how to create a nonprofit. Watched lots of extremely boring videos at irs.gov to learn how to fill out the 501c3 paperwork and do our articles of incorporation. All the nonsense that has to go into it. But it's been a labor of love, needless to say, and I'm really glad that we're finally going to be getting off the ground in a month and a half from now.
Will you have any need for fundraisers or?
Well, we're always, of course, accepting donations.
Yeah, sure.
You can go to our website, cmswichita.org. There's a page to purchase tickets as well, and find out all kinds of information about us. But as far as having a standalone fundraiser, we haven't yet scheduled one, and hopefully we won't need one. Our overhead for this first season is extremely low.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the donations and ticket sales, for that matter, that come in are going to go straight to the artists' fees themselves, the groups that we're bringing in from across the country. And
is the art museum charging you anything for their?
They are not.
Nice.
Yes, they have been extremely generous, and they're hoping, obviously, that we'll be able to launch this successfully. It's very difficult to get an arts organization off the ground, and without partners like, Patricia, Sherry, and Matt at WHAM, we wouldn't be able to do this. I mean, not realistically. So yeah, their support is crucial to the.
Well, it helps them too. It gets more people in their doors.
I like to think of it as a mutually beneficial
relationship. Sure, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, a pleasure meeting you, Brent. Luck to you, and keep us informed because we'd like to have you on again to help promote your concerts as they come up.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
And we'll be back in just a couple minutes with Angie Dunst from the Goddard Fall Festival. So stick around. We'll be right back.